48-hour art check, round 37.
Yes.
48-hour art check.
All right.
Yes.
Oh,
We are back.
I'm falling
37.
over. My camera's falling over. Stay up.
Everything okay over there?
Yeah, apparently my tripod just wanted to fall over.
The camera just got super excited. It was like, that intro. I just need some movement.
Okay, it's doing it again. So I'm going to put a sandbag on it. One moment. Talk amongst yourselves.
In the meantime, whilst Cory is setting up, I am really excited that we're at 37. I feel like we're creeping towards 40. We're almost over the hill. We're gonna get bad birthday cards.
Yes, you're gonna get
it's gonna happen.
Get the birthday cards where everybody tells you, "You're so old now," and you're like, "Yeah." That's always fun.
Yeah, and then you always meet that guy who's like 80, who's like, "You're a kid. I don't know what you're talking about."
I was in church one time when my grandpa, who was in his 80s, was talking to this guy. I don't know how old the guy was, but they were talking. And the guy said, "You're 85? Well, you're just a spring chicken." And I was like, "How old are you?" If 85 is a spring chicken, how old are you? It was amazing. So it's all relative.
Oh, man. Beautiful.
Okay, do you want to go first?
Yeah, let's rock this business.
Here we go.
All right, so I am feeling pretty good. I really like the new menu things. So I'm feeling pretty good about what I got accomplished, considering I was sick. I slept a ton over the weekend, and I also managed to finish rough pencils. And that thing you see on the right is a little sneak peek of the kinetic type video that was like my first edit in After Effects, and I'm pretty happy with it. It's the lyric star song, and I'll be uploading that shortly. And then I'm thinking it might be kind of a nice little thing for you and I to kind of workshop later on. So I'm not sure where I'm at with the time. Can't really see it.
Sorry, you went 10 seconds over. I've got to figure out a way for that not to happen.
No worries.
So I did this where I have been gathering all of the different pieces of artwork so that I can try to figure out what I'm printing for the show. And that's kind of basically it.
I love it.
So you got challenges.
Okay, challenges. So I think my biggest challenge was just being sick, and just that ever so friendly reminder that I'm pretty fortunate to not be sick all the time.
Yeah.
And so like I know on social media, like Mike Emirates has been having like hand trouble, and it's just it bums me out when that happens to artists, because it sucks when things are out of your control. So struggling with things out of my control, that's the challenge.
Yeah. Challenge for me is not doing actual art and just being really bored with getting ready for this show. I do have some really cool stuff that's happening, but it's like I'm not drawing stuff right now. I was up till whenever in the morning last night transferring files and converting things into print ready formats, and it just takes forever and is super boring. So yeah.
Yeah, I relate to that, but I'm excited about hopefully being where you're at. Like where you're at's a good spot. Yeah. So my plan for the next few days is to transfer the rough pencils, or the tight pencils, I guess little, to ink, and then I'd also like to get that YouTube video uploaded, and maybe around our next art check, maybe do a little collab on that project as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that'll be cool. I am going to finish wrapping all this up. I actually transferred all the stuff that's relevant from my old computer to my new computer, and I've been gathering all that. And so I'm just kind of like making decisions on what to print and how much to print, and in what formats and sizes. And so all of that, I'm going to start wrapping that up. I need to send that stuff to the printer before we meet the next time.
Nice.
So, yeah. I have a suggested topic, and you tell me if you want to talk about it or not.
Okay.
The hub and spoke model. Hub and spoke is where it's an older term, social media term, where you have a hub and you have all the spokes that come out of it, where you have all the social media networks surround the hub, and the hub is something that you control, like your website or something like that. And then you send everything to your website from the spokes, being the social media channels. And I'm just hearing more and more people that used to promote that type of idea talk about how that's not really plausible anymore because like the world has changed. People don't really read blogs anymore. They'll go to YouTube or go to Amazon rather than search Google for, so I don't know if that's an interesting topic or if you want to come up with a different one. I just talked about it for a minute, but
I kind of like that one. Let's go for it.
Yeah. So what do you think, especially for artists, what do you think is still valuable? Because I know there's a lot of artists out there that really struggle to keep their website updated.
So I'm one of those artists. I have a website that I forget about, frankly, quite often. That's joshuakemble.com. And right now my main hub intentionally is quarterlystories.com.
Yeah.
But you'll notice when you look in there, I was being really diligent with like keeping the YouTube feed updating there. Mm-hmm. And I haven't. I think it was like day 30 of the 100 days challenge where it was just like, nah. But I do think it's important to have a hub, and the reasoning behind it is social media comes and goes, it changes. 15 years ago, you could have been the hottest thing on I was about to say LiveJournal, but MySpace is a good example too.
Yeah.
But you could have had like a massive LiveJournal or a massive MySpace and gotten all of your artwork through there, and then MySpace just died. And I think that it's important to remember that these things can die, and the beauty of having a hub or like a promotion system, like a mailing list, having a system that's outside and not reliant on another company. Like the beauty of a website is you can always kind of host, as long as you keep your domain, you can pretty much rehost and update your software and stuff and always refresh your site.
Yeah.
But the point being, all your promotional material leading to that main part, I think, is really important for longevity. And I'd also say, just as an art director, it still looks really unprofessional to me as an art director reviewing stuff from like a carbon made site or a site where somebody didn't even bother to, brand their URL. And frankly, it's annoying to type in my computer, like some weird long website or a Tumblr account or something, as opposed to like somebody going the distance and having a portfolio site. So I do agree, and I'm going to try to wrap this up in like 10 seconds, but I agree with the idea of it kind of moving away from that. But I think artists, like if you're trying to ensure longevity online, and being somebody who's been at this for like, I guess about 15 years now, it does change. It ebbs and flows. So not hedging all your bets is a good thing. But I don't know what your take is on it.
I'm still kind of up in the air because I wrote a textbook on this, and it's based around the hub and spoke model because of everything you just said. Like if I get a bajillion followers on X social media site, and then all of a sudden they say, people who draw with ink are now banned from our site. There's nothing that I can do about that, and they can just like shut down my content, right? And you think that that's unlikely, but it actually happens to people where just all of a sudden. Something like Facebook, though, right? Facebook intentionally and tells you up front, that they actively limit the number of people that have chosen to follow you that see your posts. Instagram is starting to do the same thing. YouTube recently had a group of people that were in a test group where they were doing that with the subscription page, no longer putting those videos in order. And so that's always a thing. But then on the other hand, the reason that I'm even bringing this up, because I'm really thinking about it, is I think that's definitely true. If you control somewhere, then, and no one can come on and shut you down and whatever, you own that domain, you're doing that thing, you're in a much safer position. But when's the last time that you ever went to a blog or went to whatever casually? Very few people do that. It's not people's consumption habits used to be very scattered and have now consolidated, and it's a lot like what's happened with television. Television had 3 networks. You could get most of the US watching one TV show at the same time. And then cable came along and it splintered. And then it continued to fragment and splinter until no one was getting those numbers anymore. But now it's actually coming back around where you're pretty much getting most of your television content from Netflix or Hulu or YouTube, right? And so and the social media is doing the same thing where it used to be that there were blogs and people were doing that, and then there was this revolution of the Web 2.0 where social media started to happen, and it was unfiltered and you could just go and get whatever you want. But it still made a lot of sense to drive traffic to your site. But now it's getting to the point where, I used to buy stuff from a ton of different websites, and now I buy from Amazon. I don't even look on Google anymore for things if I'm going to purchase. And so there's that consolidation that's happening again. And I think that people's consumption habits of their entertainment and their media and their art are changing as well. So I don't think you're going to get the casual person who's just going to wander across something unless it shows up on Pinterest or Instagram or whatever social media network they've decided that they consume 80% of their visuals off of. But the problem is I feel like it's completely stacked against the little guy now. Even IGTV, like all of the algorithms are like, if you're already gigantic, then we will continue to feed people to you. But if you're just starting out, it's no longer kind of the Wild West. It's like, it's now a class system again.
Yeah. And I think what you're saying is pretty dead on. That, I still do think there are specific sites that drive a lot of traffic that are kind of like leftovers from kind of the Internet 2.0 era.
Yeah.
So if you were to say, like, there was a very popular blog, which still exists, that's more of an aggregate, kind of site where they mention your site, that can drive a lot of traffic to it as well. But the weight of that having a consequence like it used to, early in my career, if you had like a winning print on Threadless, you'd have, if you Googled your name, you'd have like 200,000 results in a day, just from like one print going up. And that's the weight that site used to have.
Right.
Now, like if somebody wins on Threadless, like, you're lucky if you have like 1,000 results, and it's not quite the hub anymore because it's diversified and because it's pretty much reliant on social media. So I agree. I think the strategy has to be kind of two-pronged.
Yeah.
I still think you need your hub because I've seen this thing change. It used to be about forums for a long time.
Yeah.
And forums used to be kind of a really heavy way to kind of drive traffic to your sites. And forums went out.
Right.
And social media has kind of taken over in that area. But I could see a rebirth of forums because of social media being such a alienating thing, like you were talking about, where it's like discoverability is much less, oddly enough. because the feed it's all like a Twitter feed now. I don't know. It's interesting. It's definitely, I don't know. I feel like it is one of those things where it's changed, but because it's changed, keeping a long-term view, I wouldn't change with like that hub.
And I think the one thing, and I'll just wrap up my thoughts. The one thing that I've been thinking about it is the expectations have changed, kind of like what you were saying, like, and it's the same thing that happens with all media and all television, is that, or not television, but all media in general, is that when there's fewer players, it's kind of that signal to noise ratio, right? If you have a radio signal and there's a lot of noise in the air, then you've got to have a super powerful signal. But if there's no noise in the air, then a fairly weak signal can break through. And so we have entered into a stage of the internet where it is exceptionally noisy. And so if you don't have a gigantic following already, you're not going to get a gigantic following, but you'd still get a niche following. So if I might not be able to send my radio signal, across the country, but anybody who's looking for it in a specific genre, niche, whatever, will still be able to find it. It's kind of just a, the idea of people becoming overnight successes and having millions and millions of followers on some new platform just seems less and less likely as things get noisier and more crowded.
Yeah, 100% agree. But the cool thing about that is you can pretend that you're in the back of a van back in the day doing pirate radio with the FBI chasing you because you're stealing the signals.
Because you've got too much wire.
And like what we're doing right now is pretty much like what pirate radio would have been back in the day. And it's kind of rad that there is as small of a signal as we might be broadcasting even right now in this 48-hour art check. It's rad that we have the ability to do that through larger signals.
And I wonder if it's a more intimate and authentic connection with fewer people than it is with a gigantic audience, most of which you don't know who they are.
Ooh, we're gonna have to remember that topic for next time, because I think that's actually kind of a cool thing. Like, what do you want to be as an artist? Do you want to be the person with 1 billion followers, or do you want to have that niche support following where you have the freedom to kind of do? Yeah, we'll have to hit that up next 48-hour art check. All right, cool. We did it again.
We did it one more time. Okay, if you want to find Josh's stuff, you can always go to quarterlystories.com. And you can check out joshuakemble.com, which probably hasn't been updated in a while. I do not have a webcomic, so you can find my stuff at corykerr.com. And I will be combing through there trying to figure out what to print for this show. And then special thanks to No Saboteurs. And you can find their stuff at facebook.com/No Saboteurs for licensing the music. I do have something coming up and you're on my channel right now. So if you want to hear an interview with Gazbot, who is an awesome artist that does a ton of shows and has niched down super hard in his like different fandoms and styles that he does, I'm like really excited. I'm going to be interviewing him on the 8th at 4 or 5 California time. I'll post it, so see me on social media, but yeah.
I have one thing to throw in there too. If you guys have any suggestions for like specific things Cory's done in his portfolio, go to his site, check it out, and leave it in the comments below so that you can help him parse through those items. I think that'll be helpful.
That would be super helpful because I didn't realize how much art I've created in the last 2 years, and I have this huge. I don't want to start the timer over. I can't afford to print everything, and so I'm going through right now trying to figure out what people like, and I have no idea. So spend a couple minutes on my Instagram or my website or something, and leave me a comment on this video and let me know if you were to go to this show, what would you spend $5 to $20 on. That would be amazingly helpful.
And then Rodney in the chats also said he thinks that you could have both kind of methods, the spoke and the wheels, and then or the hub. And then he said it was his first time catching it live. And thanks, Rodney. It was cool. It's cool having you in the chats. All right. Anything else? Anything we left out?
Anything you want to plug right before we sign off?
Yeah. Do YouTube. All right. Bye.
See you guys later. We'll see you on Wednesday.